Okay, let's find a comfortable seat. Let out a sigh. Give your body a little wiggle. Just get all the little excess tension of what brought you here, everything that was leading up to this moment to decide to start practicing yoga. Just shake it all out. All the day. Shake it out. Breathe it out. Let in some fresh air. Feel your organs soften in your belly. Just let it all go. And just drift the hands slowly down. Bring the wiggle to a close. And just feel the residual memory of that shaking. And from this space, we'll start with a bow. Okay, I would like to start with a toe stretch today. Okay, so we can just start with this one where we tuck our toes under to start. Sit on the heels. Whoop, whoop, we're charging our bodies up. I went for a really long walk yesterday, and I could feel that my feet were asking for this. So this is just a reminder that anytime you use your feet a lot, they will thank you for doing this. So seeing what the toe stretch is like today. A little bit different every time. Sometimes we go into this knowing what to expect. But maybe we can just open up the possibility for something different to happen today. What's here right now? Imagine that your breath can move into the places that are being activated right now. Breathing into the shins, sending the air all the way down the tops of the legs and the fronts of the thighs and the fronts of the shins. Sending breath to every single toe, all 10 toes. Noticing any desire to escape. And just attempting to stay with it. Change the story. Labeling what you feel, sensation. Workable sensation. We'll just be here for a few more seconds. We can do it as long as it's not sharp and shooting. Finding that burst of energy where this suddenly becomes manageable, interesting, shiny, bright. Today we'll get out of this pose a little bit differently. So instead of rocking forward, let's just stand up and be right on our feet. Standing up, placing the soles of the feet directly into the ground, bringing your spine up tall, rolling up, and maybe feeling this burst of energy coming all the way up the tops of the thighs, from the toes, just feeling any spaciousness or movement that's happening in the lower half of the body. I'm just going to adjust my camera so you can see me. And now that we're standing, let's just find a nice comfortable stance. Feet about shoulder width apart. Still finding this sensations, the echoes from the toe pose, but feeling a sense of rooting into the floor. The flat parts of your feet are now connected to the earth, to whatever material your floor is made of, or perhaps a yoga mat. Just feeling that texture, locating the awareness of the feet, sensing the feeling of the floor holding you. And try to pull that energy from the floor up through your whole being and let it just come out the top of your head, noticing if your knees are locked or if your stomach is clenched, and try to just open up these pathways so that that energy from the ground can just flow right up your legs, through the belly, past the lungs and the heart, up the throat, through the brain, up the top of the head, and back around and out. Maybe even just taking the arms for a moment and doing this upward motion and bring the arms down. Just feeling the thickness of the air as you go. These round circles, pulling the energy up and letting it fall down through the arms. Moving at your own pace. Feeling the hands gliding through the air. Feeling the energy move up from the ground through your whole body. One more time. Pausing. And now let's lift our arms up to our sides. T shape. And we'll just twist from side to side, keeping the feet planted, trying to move directly from the waist. So moving the hips as little as possible, but it's okay. They're naturally kind of just going to sway. But we'll try to just keep them a little stationary for the moment so that we're targeting that area around the ribs, letting the spine get a nice little twist. And just feeling how fun the air feels on the arms. This was like a huge pastime for me as a kid, just swinging my arms around. So I find a lot of delight in this motion. And maybe you do too. Perhaps synchronizing your breath to the movement. And start to slow down the movement, letting the arms kind of naturally lose their momentum. Bring the spinning to a close, pausing to feel. Notice what may automatically start to clench. Can you soften? Good, and now we'll start to lower back down, coming to the floor again. Let's do the opposite toe stretch this time, getting the tops of the feet on the ground and just tilting backwards, catching your hands behind you, or even placing a block underneath the knees to support you so that you don't need to use your hands. And if you choose that option to have the block under your knees, to have your hands free, you can place your thumbs right at the tip of your nose, the bridge of your nose, in between the eyes, and just hold your head in your thumbs, maybe prayer hands. And as you can see, this can be done without a block, but the block will just add some more support so you don't feel off balance. And when we have the thumbs in the eyes like this, we're getting the two end points of the meridians, starting in the feet, ending in the eyes. So it's like adding a little charge or a spark to both ends of the circuit. Easy breath. A little bit less than a minute more like this. And now we can hinge forward, roll forward onto the knees, and let the feet suspend. Maybe pointing and flexing the toes. Feels creaky and tender. This is just the tissue's way of saying, ooh, I am adding new layers of healthy tissues. And it comes in the form of this feeling. Wiggle the toes. See if you can maybe close your eyes and just feel every single toe. Oh, it's kind of hard to feel some of them. So just see if you can wiggle every toe. Some of them don't want to separate. But we're just feeling all our little toes. Cool. Give the feet a shake. Shake them side to side, up and down. Cool. And then you can sit back on your heels, or you can sit cross-legged. We're just gonna do some neck rolls here, different initiations from the neck. So it doesn't matter which seat you have, just find a place you feel like you'll be comfortable to sit for a few moments. And once you've found that, just release the shoulders. Oh, you can always sit on a block too. That's good to have the hips heightened if you're sitting cross-legged specifically. But once you find a seat, just roll the shoulders a little bit. Get them to come down the spine. Feeling good. And then we're gonna move the neck side to side and up and down, but let's try to do it initiating from the nose. So moving really slowly from the nose, look to the left, back to center. Moving from the nose, look over to the right, back to center. Now let's just initiate from the neck. So feel like your awareness is just in the neck itself and you're turning from the neck to look towards the left and back to center. From the neck, move to the right, back to center. From the nose again, let's look up. Point the nose towards the ceiling. Come back to center. Point the nose down. Come back to center. Now from the neck, see if you can tilt the head up from the neck. Come back to center. Moving from the neck, looking down. Come back to center. And now just noticing where you naturally initiate from. You don't really have to focus on one or the other. We'll just do some neck circles from the right to the left. And just naturally notice where it is you feel like you're moving from. Is it the top of the head, the neck, the nose, the ears? What seems to be the point of movement, of initiation? Moving in the opposite direction. Coming back to center. Pausing to feel for a moment. Let's place the right hand now on the ground, and the left hand can come around to the right ear. We'll just give it a tiny little tug, feeling that line of energy from the right fingertips to the right ear lobe. Come back to center, letting the head go. Pause for a moment with both hands touching the earth. All right hand comes up and over to left ear. Feel the fingertips touch the ground beside you and just give the head a tiny tug. Feeling that light stretch up into the jawline. Letting that go. Come back to center. Sit for a moment. Okay, so now we're gonna set up for a dragon, and I'm inviting us to use the wall a little bit as an option, but totally not mandatory. And so you can watch first. We'll come up towards the wall and we'll have our right foot come out in front of us at this 90-degree angle. And then you can scoot back so that your left leg, your left shin can come up against the wall. And then you can stand up and you get this lovely little stretch going on the left side, on that left upper thigh. We can sit up like this for a little while. So you can go ahead and try that, or you can just stay in your situation right on the ground. The leg doesn't have to come up. You can just have it resting on the floor. And for either pose, it's really nice to have some padding underneath the knees because this can be a lot more difficult if the knees aren't having a good time. So we'll just be here for a little bit. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can put your arms up, or you can place them in like broken wing formation behind your back. But my hands can't quite touch the wall there. Just anything you really want to do with your arms here, but you could always place them lightly on top of the knee. Not applying too much pressure here. Trying to evenly distribute our weight through the whole body. Remembering that energy we pulled up from the ground, how it rose evenly through the body, out the top of the head. So just imagine that the top of you is very light, suspended, easy, unclenched. And you're supported by the floor, supported by the strength of your own body. At any time you want to put your arms down, if you get kind of tired, you can put your arms down. It's a bit different. There's no real right way to do this. You can just find what feels good, where you feel a good edge, a comfortable challenge. And to come out of this, just walk yourself away from the wall, slide that knee down. And in between sides, we're going to do a deer. So let me get into the shot. Let's have the knees pointing towards the left at first, and the feet can come towards the right. And you've got pillows or bolsters, any props next to that left hip. Turn your torso over to the left, and you can just rest your body down. Finding the sweetness in the pose. Sparkly feelings. The spacious, shiny parts. Meditating on a soft, open heart, a kind attitude, a welcoming attitude, open attention. Starting to walk your hands up, coming back to center. Place your hands behind your back and just windshield wiper your legs in front of you, side to side, rinsing out the last couple poses. And we'll go back to our friend the wall. This time, the left foot can step out, bring that knee to a right angle, and then scooch that right knee on back, pressing your foot up against the wall. And hands can always come down onto blocks too, where you can come all the way upright, resting the hands on the thigh or behind the head, behind the back. Arms can come up. My ceiling doesn't really let me do that though. But hopefully you've got a space that allows for something that's fun. And we watch, we feel, we make space. We welcome the sensation into our open, non-judgmental attention. Not trying to be somewhere else. We are here with this moment, and this moment is temporary. What's the story? What is the mind saying right now? Listening, allowing, welcoming but not indulging. Just a little bit longer here. Placing your hands back down on the ground, sliding that right knee back towards you. And we'll set up for deer on the right this time. Pointing the feet towards the left, pointing the knees towards the right, turning the torso over to the right, and going down as far as you would like today. becoming like a puddle, just letting everything go. A little pool of you, light, fluid, vast. I'm just giving you a little bit more space and silence today. See what naturally comes up. A little bit longer here. Staying with your deer. Your dear, dear. Slowly start to make your way up and out your deer pose. And we'll do what we did on the other side again, just windshield wipering the legs. Bring the legs out long and wide. Give them a little shake. Maybe some wider windshield wipers. If you want to massage the tops of your thighs a little bit, maybe get into those hip creases. Tops of the thighs. So tense. Give them a little rub and a shake. Just pulling the flesh and meat away from the bone, pulling the muscle away from the bone, letting the muscles just disengage a little bit. Don't forget the sides of the hips. Give it a little push away from the sides. Grab the bottoms of the thighs, the backs of the thighs. Wow, there's a lot of tension there too. Giving it a little squeeze. You can't really see my hands, but I'm just squeezing the flesh and the muscle right at the backs of my thighs. But you go wherever it feels good, wherever you want to give your legs a little massage. This is an opportunity to do that. Your own personal masseuse right now. Let's give the calves just a squeeze on the back, just a little shake and squeeze. Maybe a little knocking, making little fists and just knocking on the backs of the legs, sides of the legs, tops of the shins, inner thighs, inner calves, excuse me. Great. Now let's roll on back. Come to your back. Take a moment once you get to the floor to just make a big X. Notice what's here right now. Okay, and now we'll take a shoelace. It'll be a short shoelace today, but let's cross the right knee over the left. And maybe you like to stay here. You could place a block underneath that left foot, and this could be just enough in this passive reclined shoelace. Or you can put your hands somewhere around that left knee and just pull this shoelace towards you. If this is too much on the outer thighs, you could just bring knees to chest, knees to belly without crossing them. You could uncross them. But here we're targeting the outer thighs, the outer hips. And we're also getting some good compression on the inner thighs where they're squeezing together. The organs are getting some love here too. Earlier I was looking out my window and a big gust of wind came and it blew all the little white petals off of the blossom trees that are around. And it just looked like it was snowing in the middle of April. But the image of the petals floating down through the sky on a sunny day, it's how we can just imagine all the little cells in our body right now. They're not clinging to one another, they're simply floating through the sky. Little ricocheting petals in the warm glow of your body. Let them descend. And if you've got that left foot on a block, or if you're holding the left knee, you can start to move that foot down to the sole of your foot, reaches down to the earth, uncross your legs and just let them out long, come into an X again. Feel what happened. Start to pull your knees back towards the ceiling. Cross that left knee over the right now. And then decide if you want to be halfway or all the way, holding on to that right knee now. Settling in. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche says, awareness is like the wind. You only need to open the windows and doors, and it's bound to come in. Starting to let that go. Slowly transitioning, undoing, coming back to that big X marks the spot. pendiculating in any way that feels good. We'll end with a happy baby. So grabbing the outer edges of your feet, bending your knees. You could also grab onto ankles or toes or the inner knees, inner thighs. We'll just feel this open pose for a moment or so. Letting that go. Finding your Shavasana. Making yourself comfortable. And releasing into your final resting pose. Bringing in a deeper breath. Wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, curling up, scrunching up onto one side. Give yourself a little pat or a hug or a squeeze. Thank you, body. Thank you, mind. And you can start to push yourself on up, coming to a comfortable seat to close. And before we toddle off, we can thank all beings. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be at peace. Closing with a bow. Toodaloo.